Welcome back to Super Recaps. Today I will show you an episode from the horror and drama series called Into the Dark, All That We Destroy. The episode begins with a girl called Dashley rising from a strange black liquid. When she awakens, she sees an unknown man waiting for her. She inquires about where they are and who he is. The man, Spencer, just hands her some wine and asks her whether she remembers anything at all. When she says no, Spencer suddenly attacks her and chokes her until she dies. He then dumps her body in a metal container outside. Soon, his mother shows up and hands him a diary so that he can express his feelings about Ashley's clone. His mother, Victoria, then asks what went wrong, and he replies that the clone wasn't like the real Ashley. After hearing that, Victoria heads to her lab to figure out how to perfect Ashley's clone. While she works, Spencer gives her the updated diary through a gap in the door. As she's reading the diary, she gets a call from her husband. Using a special VR communication device, they talk about Spencer as they stroll through a park. Victoria tells him that she's trying her best, but Spencer isn't satisfied. Parker says that their son needs real help, but Victoria refuses because she doesn't want them to take Spencer away, and that this is the only way to save him. So, her husband advises her to try monitoring Spencer while he's with the clones to get a better idea of what's going wrong. After that, Victoria creates another clone and dresses her up as usual. When Spencer enters the room, he spots the camera, and when Ashley awakens, he asks her if she remembers anything, which he doesn't. This makes Spencer agitated, and he screams at her. And Spencer ends up killing her again as his mother watches through the camera. He then walks up to the camera and breaks it. The scene then shifts to a few months ago when Spencer first encountered the real Ashley. A man threw her out of his car and left her stranded. Spencer approached her and told her that she will have to walk for 6 hours to reach the city. He then invited her to his house, which was nearby. Back in the present, Spencer informs his mom that it doesn't feel the same because the clones don't feel real. His mom assures him that she'll make it work soon as this was only the 4th try. Later, Victoria is on a call with her husband again, and she is angry that he made her watch Spencer kill someone. But Parker says it was necessary so that she can get a better understanding of what Spencer needs. Otherwise, he might kill someone real. He then asks her what she learned, and she says that she needs to make the clone more real. To do that, she'll spend some time with the clone. Their conversation gets interrupted when Victoria's boss, Taylor, calls her, but Victoria ignores the call. The following day, Victoria makes the 5th clone and informs Spencer that this clone will be more authentic, but for that, Spencer will need to stay away from it for a while. Spencer agrees, but later, he tries to eavesdrop on their conversation, so his mom shuts the door. He then goes outside and makes a drawing of Ashley's face covered in ants. While he's walking around, he notices his neighbor unloading things from her car, so he offers to help her. The girl introduces herself as Marissa and tells him that since her parents are traveling, she'll be staying here to look after the house. Later that night, Spencer is drawing Marissa when the doorbell rings. His mom opens the door to see Marissa, who gives her some cookies for Spencer to thank him for helping. Once she leaves, Victoria scolds Spencer for trying to get close to Marissa, but Spencer says that he was simply just helping. Later, Victoria talks to her husband and tells him about Marissa. Parker is worried that she might be Spencer's new obsession, and Victoria informs him that she saw Spencer drawing her. They then talk about the new Ashley clone, and Victoria tells Parker that she plans to use important parts from Ashley's past to make the clone more real. The next day, Spencer visits Marissa and shows her the drawing he made of her. Marissa is amazed and compliments his skills and says that she likes him, making him smile shyly. Spencer then returns to his house, and when his mom finds out that he visited Marissa, she scolds him and tells him never to meet Marissa again. Spencer is hurt by this, so Victoria tells him that he can meet Ashley tomorrow. The scene is then back in the past when Spencer first brought Ashley to his house. He informed her that his mom is a geneticist and that she will come back late. Ashley then tried to go into her lab, but Spencer stopped her. After that, Ashley went to the bathroom and used drugs. When she came back, she asked Spencer for some wine. They then drank together, and Spencer told her that he will drive her back to town once his mom returned. To pass time, they listened to Ashley's favorite song, and then Ashley asked him to show her his room. Back in the present, it's time for the new clone to meet Spencer. Victoria takes her to Spencer's room and leaves. They drink wine together while listening to Ashley's favorite song. Spencer also shows her his drawings, and when Ashley sees the portrait of herself, she gets scared. So, Spencer puts the drawings away as he kills her. His mother listens from outside the room. After that, Spencer tells his mother that he finally feels alive again, just like the time he killed the real Ashley. He then thanks and hugs her. Victoria is ecstatic and tells Parker that it finally worked. She plans to continue the process until Spencer can live a normal life again, and he can just come back home if he feels the urge to kill again. The next morning, Marissa comes to visit him as she's bored. They start chatting, and during the conversation, Marissa reveals that she had an eating disorder and used to see a therapist. Spencer responds that he also had a therapist, so Marissa asks him which disorder he has. But at that moment, Spencer notices Ashley's hair on the ground and covers it with his foot. Since he didn't reply to her question, Marissa changes the topic and invites him to an art exhibition, but Spencer is unsure, so she leaves after telling him to think about it. Spencer then recalls the time when the real Ashley entered his room. She was impressed by his drawings and said that she also liked art while displaying the tattoo on her arm. She then asked him to dance with her, and Spencer started filling up her body, but Ashley moved away. Suddenly, Spencer attacked her and started choking. Ashley tried to escape, but he easily caught her and killed her. The scene then shifts back to the present, where Victoria has made a new clone. And once again, when Ashley wakes up, Victoria informs her that she was in an accident. Ashley wants to go home, but since she doesn't remember anything, Victoria assures her that she will drop Ashley home when she remembers where it is. They then go for a walk outside, and after showing her videos of Spencer's dog, she takes Ashley to the dog's grave, where they have a conversation about death. And Victoria says that everyone dies eventually. She recalls the day Spencer murdered Ashley. Victoria was terrified, and she slapped Spencer while screaming that she thought he had gotten better. She then inquired about how he found Ashley and if anyone knew she was there. After Spencer tells her everything, they plan how to get rid of the body. In the present, Spencer decides to attend the exhibition, and he tells Marissa that he has never seen an art gallery before. He reveals that he was homeschooled after grade 6 because one day he was playing King of the Mountain, and he was so desperate to win that he pushed a girl off the mountain, which resulted in her death. And since then, his mom has kept him distanced from everyone else. Marissa believes that's unreasonable because he was only a kid. To lift his mood, she shows him his drawing that has been displayed in the exhibit. Initially, Spencer feels betrayed because she didn't ask him first, but Marissa says that she just wanted to surprise him. Back at the house, Victoria discovers that Spencer has left the house, so she tries to find him using GPS, but he has also left his phone at home. After a while, Marissa drops Spencer home and sees Ashley through the window. Back at the house, Victoria is waiting for Spencer, and she tells him that he can't have friends and that he should only rely on his mother. But Spencer says that Marissa is different. Ashley eavesdrops on their conversation and goes back to her room, where she has a nightmare about being killed. It seems that she's starting to remember some things, and she confronts Victoria about it and asks why Spencer always stays away from her. Victoria explains that Spencer is simply shy, but he was the one who found her. Later, Victoria talks to Parker about Ashley regaining her memories and says that this clone feels like a real person. Parker then questions if she's still willing to sacrifice this Ashley, and Victoria replies yes, because she can do anything for her son. The next day, Ashley enters Spencer's room and discovers scratch marks on the floor, just like her dream. She also sees the portrait of herself in his sketchbook and takes it to her room to check the other pages. That evening, Spencer tells his mom that he's tired and that he wants to live a normal life and meet other people. But his mom doesn't agree and reminds him of his violent past. She says that he has been like this for a long time and he can't suddenly be cured. When Spencer reveals that he has feelings for Marissa, Victoria is afraid that he might kill her. The following day, Marissa goes to Spencer's house and secretly takes a picture of Victoria and Ashley. Later, Victoria's boss calls her and criticizes her for not coming to work, so Victoria has no choice but to attend the meeting. Before she leaves, she locks Ashley's room as she can't trust Spencer. Meanwhile, Marissa Googles Ashley and finds out that she is a wanted thief who is currently missing. She messages Spencer about it, but unbeknownst to her, Victoria receives the message and immediately calls Spencer to ask about what he told Marissa. Spencer assures her that he didn't say anything, but Victoria is still worried and she rushes back home. In the meantime, Marissa goes to Spencer to warn him about Ashley. Ashley is going through Spencer's sketchbook in her room, but she throws it on the ground upon seeing some disturbing picture. Marissa hears the noise and asks Spencer if Ashley is in the house, but Spencer doesn't reply and starts threateningly walking toward her. He then starts strangling her. She manages to call the police before Spencer catches. On the other hand, Ashley takes a hammer from the cupboard and breaks the door lock. She leaves the room, only to witness Spencer killing her with a piece of glass. Ashley rushes to hide in the lab, where she finds out about her real life and the cloning. Meanwhile, Victoria is horrified when she discovers Marissa's dead body and slaps Spencer, but Spencer explains that he had no choice but to kill her since she found out about Ashley. Back at the lab, Ashley discovers the tub of black liquid and checks the computers, where she finds her missing posters and the pictures of her real body. In the next scene, Victoria finds out that Marissa called 911, so she tells Spencer to kill Ashley too and get rid of both bodies. But Spencer discovers that Ashley is gone, and Victoria starts panicking as the cops are on their way. Spencer then goes to dispose of Marissa's body, and Victoria enters the lab, where she encounters Ashley with a hammer. Ashley asks her for an explanation, and Victoria insists that Spencer saved her, but Ashley says she knows that Spencer murdered her. She tries to hit Victoria but smashes the computer. Spencer hears the noise and rushes to save his mom. He arrives just as Ashley hits Victoria with the hammer. He tries to attack her, but she kicks him and escapes and sneaks to attack him. She repeatedly punches him until he collapses and kills him just like he killed her all those times. This is when the police arrive and arrest her. Victoria is devastated to see her son's dead body. Later, Victoria destroys all the evidence, and the movie ends as we see her create a clone of Spencer. Thanks for watching. To support the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button and press the bell icon to get new video updates.